we'd like to invite our last speaker up, and this is a topic I'm particularly interested in hearing, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. Dr. Lina Yassin is going to come up. She's the co-founder of Numo, and she's going to talk about the leaky funnel. Let us discuss the reasons women leak out of employment funnels and how we can empower more women to lead. So let's give her a hearty round of applause.
Thank you so much. You know, it's hard being the last speaker, especially that I'm the only one standing between you and socializing at the party. But please, listen up. I have actually another news, which is I'm going to be talking a lot about numbers. I hope you love it. I'm fascinated with numbers, and I'm also a hardcore feminist. I'm this aggressive person that is really wanting to educate everyone to be assertive. So, let me see if I can run my presentation. The leaky funnel. I don't know, did any of you listen to this topic before? Raise your hand. Nice. But did you listen it from me, or was it from the, what is happening, yeah? So, have you seen this picture of Munich's last year's Security Council? There was like, where are the women? What's the diversity? What are we having? You know, and everyone is talking diversity, diversity, diversity. So I actually want to ask you to look at the funnel. This is an outdated data from Lean In and the McKinsey studies in 2017, really shows that at the beginning of the funnel, women actually compose like 50% of the population. And we're not talking about intersectionality, because that's a different topic. And then at the end, we're like less than 20, 18, 12, you name it, in which companies. Why are women leaking out? What is happening? What are the reasons for that? That's something that I decided to actually go deep and find the numbers for it. But I'd like to get your help. Can you go to the Menti, which is like www.menti. You can get your phones out. That's the time to make your voice heard, meaning your tips. You can put so www.menti.com. And the code is 38323385. I hope you can all see it. And I will ask the tech to switch to the Menti. And once you're there, please give me a thumbs up. It's a different code? So please give to this code, sorry then. That works? Good. I think I copied the... Okay. 8 people. How many people are we here today? I think we should like get 60 or something. Numbers. Okay. So it is the code 49269760 on top. Okay? Let me actually advance to the next question. How are you feeling today? That you'll see on the screen. That's just to warm everyone out before the drinking happens. Yay, okay, not so good. I feel sad for this person. Can't say now, ask me later, maybe after the party. Okay, let's go to the next question. Remember the picture of the diversity? Maybe in 2 words, like really hashtag, only 2. Why do you think this is still happening? Don't overthink, you know? Take it from Alex. Alex Mania, Alex, what was it, Alex? Alex. Yeah, no appreciation, networking, or the lack of it, motherhood, access, boys club. Can you scroll down? Sexism, biases, parenthood, motherhood, children, biases, tiredness, no room, family stress. You know, there are really reasons, and we should tackle each one in order to find out for each organization what are the core problems. Okay, let's move to the next one. Oh, maybe I can even do it. Yeah. So now this is a tricky one for you, ladies and gents. I want you to rank. You know, it's all about prioritization. It's all about finding really the problems worth serving. So you can rank here, like the top one. Is it inadequate recognition and support? Or is it actually the workload, including the motherhood, parenthood? The family priorities has its spot. The lack of growth opportunities, personal preferences, or others. Fourteen. make sure to submit so that your answer will be submitted. And that's the beauty. This tool is called Mentimeter. It's a company in Sweden that I had the pleasure of visiting them a month ago while I was creating my company. And it's so great to see that the others are also feeling the same. So it is surprisingly the inadequate recognition. And why do I say surprisingly? Because every audience is different. So you should not put all the things in one block. No, we need this in order to solve the diversity problem, right? Lack of opportunity, growth opportunity. How do you really empower women to stay and lead, right? Family priorities is now sort of like coming up again. What support system would you have in order to keep women at their positions? Workload, and then personal preferences is one of the last. Okay, let me move on, and then bring back to the presentation. Oh, this is nice. You know, I have like so something is broken in the system. You know, we are leaking out. Why are we doing that? So I decided to really dig deep in it. One of them was also assumptions like, you know, women are not really meant to lead. They lack their confidence. You know, we're talking about syndromes like posture. So there is an early study also of from Baines that shows that early employers, women and men, actually women aspire 43% to really reach management levels, and men and they're confident that they're going to reach it by 27%, from aspiration, wanting to actually getting there. Let's look at the men. Actually, less aspiration when they start, but the confidence level is similar to women. So that's surprising, right? We start actually already with more confidence to really get out and be more 100% at the end of the funnel. What happens 2 years or 5 years later? This is experienced employees. Men still aspire and are confident at similar numbers. Let's look at the women. Crushed. I hope that you ladies here don't share these statistics. Yeah? But something actually odd is happening. And I went in and I researched that actually now the statistics really show that there's more and more confidence out there. But we need to find out what happened to those women, okay? That's why I decided to actually research the leaky funnel more and more. And I found Johanna Barsh, she's a McKinsey director, Emerald, and she showed the same, you know, leakiness in the funnel, 53 at Fortune 500 to 19% at the end. And I decided, well, wait a second, if this is the case, then actually quota is not really going to help. So I wrote a blog about like why I think that the quota by itself does not really help shatter the glass ceiling. We need to understand what stands between us and the end of the funnel. So, according to Johanna Barsh and this McKinsey, there's the obstacle, the structural obstacle, meaning that there is lack of informal network. This is one of them. Yeah? Lack of female role models. You actually act as ones. And there is also lack of recognition. That was one of the priorities. Yeah? But then these are called structural obstacles. And then there is the lifestyle, what we talked about, you know, work-life imbalance. Women are really expressed concerns that they need to be 24/7 at this executive life and traveling. Parental leaves, obviously, and then the lack of support of male spouses. And I put like 2 dots on this one. Like we need to educate our partners how to unload from this lifestyle issues. And then there's the lifestyle. Oops. Embedded institutional mindset that women and men are not evaluated equally. They're like different evaluation when it comes to women are evaluated always based on their experience. Please prove to me that you can do it. Men, it's like, oh, I believe in you. You have a potential. Like in entrepreneurship, women are always asked about what will you do when you fail. Men are always asked to do what will you do when you succeed, right? And then the recognition is also back there. Like, you know, women are recognized differently than men, and they're recognized not in the boys' club that actually where the main recognition is really happening, yeah? And then there is finally one more, if the clicker works. There's also the individual. You know, we have to admit that we women also, we don't just strive to stay there and work for corporates all our life. We have different aspirations. We like to, take a spiritual track at some point, or we want to actually do things for ourselves, not for the profit. So yes, the women become less satisfied with their careers, irrespective of what is happening of the mindset. And we should also acknowledge that. So these are like really the structural differences. So I went in and actually talked to Johanna Barsh, and I told her, hey, if you need to really fix something, what would you fix? And here, like, fix the women's mindset or the men's mindset, what would you choose? And she said, no, it's actually the individuals and the organization need to be made self-aware, and see that in this way. So only talking about it, they can really see it and then self-correct. Now that's why I went then to the next research. It's like, okay, how does self-correction work in between genders? So I found a very, very interesting article by Professor Mayo in the NYU, and she took 222 MBA students, 2/3 male and female, and then she tracked their evolution in terms of like feedback and self-perception over a course of a couple of years. And it's very hard to see this graph, but let me sort of summarize. So there's like the leadership skills, and then there's the perception, self-perception versus peer perception. What do the people think of me versus what do I think of myself? But then after each cycle, you would get your 360 feedback, so you would know what people are thinking of you. What we do basically every time at our performance management. But I was like, okay, let's look at the gender difference. When the clicker wants to, yeah? So actually, it shows that peer feedback really promotes this self-realistic view of ourselves eventually. And we're interested in this gap. So you see like the first dot, the second dot, the third dot, and you see that actually we're more and more closer to what the other thinks of us. That was interesting because that wasn't the same between men and women. So this is the graph for the woman, and then you see that actually the gap between the solid line and the open line gets smaller and smaller and smaller after each bar. Yeah? So women are quicker to adjust our self-image. We integrate the feedback, and thus we sort of evaluate ourselves differently. Wait a second. The clicker is fooling around. Can you go back? Look at the men. I will leave it for a bit. The blue lines are the men. First of all, it's way higher than the women, which meaning that they're like, we're super confident, we think that we're the best. So, and then no matter what happens, the graph does not really, the gap between the real, like the solid line and the open line does not really get closer, does not get smaller, right? So they have a higher self-esteem, and they don't fucking care. So that was the oh my God part. So to just summarize scientifically, women tend to assimilate the new information. We get the feedback, we assimilate it. Men tend to overestimate. And we discussed it exactly before. Now is the data for it, right? But is that an advantage or a disadvantage? Yeah. Because actually, didn't Johanna Barsh said that we have to self-awareness? So we need to create an increase in self-awareness, which is supposed to be a good. But what happens if actually this is like, self-awareness is wrong, It's like we're getting the wrong feedback, Somebody thinks that we're not good, but actually it's not true. So, that's where because this actually decreases the confidence, and it really discourages women to take on new challenges, and that is one also of the reasons why they leak out. So, why do we care so much about what others think of us? I'm not going to get to this because then I will need another 2 sessions for it, right? But I am doing a product which is called Empower Thyself. Because I don't believe that somebody can come and empower you. You have the power in you. Somebody needs to sort of coach and mentor and sort of give you the tools, maybe the data. But one of them is negotiate your value. You need to learn how to negotiate what is yours. Yeah? You need to do it for the sisterhood. So make sure that you're not the only woman, that you always bring more women on board, because this is how you actually create more women to lead with you. And then bouncing back. is a very important one. How do you really sort of use the failures and the mistakes to quickly bounce back? Because like we learn most from our mistakes. So why not use this to leverage and really stay there? I'm not going to do the last mentee because I think that's enough. So thank you so much.
I'm supposed to be on stage now. Hello. All right, so we have a little bit of time for questions. Maybe one or two. Anyone have a quick question? Oh, really? You've obviously wowed them. Oh, there we go. There's one. Gotcha.
I mean, some of them are still sort of doing this
That's
promise
great.
to myself.
Yeah, why not?
Because I think once you sort of really write this promise, this is how you say, I'm going to do something about it, and I'm not going to sort of leak out just because I feel like I'm not that worthy.
So yeah, short question. Like, do you have any tips for like self-empowerment?
Actually, knowing the data that you're about to leak out because somebody's going to tell you that you're not good enough, that's already an eye-opening. Okay. So, the tools is to really go through trainings of like surround yourself with actually people that trust you. People that really think that you're great no matter what happens. It could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be you. But and every time somebody tells you, you did something wrong or you're not worthy or like, why did you apply to this job or whatever, take the feedback, put it on your scale. Is it going to make me grow? If the answer is no, ditch it. Okay. Yeah? So there are tools. There are really tools to sort of like regain your confidence, and also tools and methods to really advance your career. Yeah? One of them is definitely, having a network around you that not only sort of tells you and mentors you, but actually opens doors for you. So we need to create the women's club, right? That's definitely good. And we need to focus on this sisterhood that, somebody has to grab me.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I also wanted to come to this event and be on stage, because, I work with men. And then when I told my colleagues, no, there's like this event happening for women, and they're like, can I join? And I'm like, and they're like, oh, discrimination. And I'm like, okay, let's change the topic.
But actually, just to build on this, I was thinking, because I offer those trainings to Axel Springer as part of like the Grow module, and I think that no, those trainings should not be only for women, because we need to educate the men about how do they actually, first of all, minimize the gap between self-reflections and peers, but also know that, hey, they need to be there for women so that
But sometimes I just don't have the energy, and I'm like, okay.
But if I may as well, though, like what you just said is, again, a good example of what you can do to empower yourself is to say yes to opportunities that you might not normally say yes to. Just show up. I really do think that a huge part of success is just showing up, and when someone offers you something, trust them, say yes to it. Like, I was approached for this job, like Director of Product and Engineering. There's a long story about how I got this job, but the short version is I was like, me a director, that's hilarious. And I was like, that's nice, let's talk in 5 to 10 years. And she was like, no, let's talk now. Yeah. And here I am. So I think like these things can happen. Sometimes you have to trust when people put trust in you. You have to say, okay, maybe I do deserve this. Maybe I should be there. So.
And statistically, women apply to job if they fulfill like 80 to 90% or over 90, and men apply if they have like 10 to 20. So my advice to you: find a job that you only have 20% qualification for it. Apply for it for the sake of it, but pursue sort of checking like, what do I need to do, right? Because you need to learn how to bounce back, and you need to actually put on your potential rather than only my experience.
Yeah, and I think it's 100% true about like the network you said, because I'm here because she texted me. And I'm like, what is this thing? And she's like, no, cross-functional teams, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, but I think also this is like this embedded systems, like embedded mindset that women sort of like automatically say, no, this is too big for me, or like, I'm not the right person for it. I'll nominate someone who's better. And men, they usually, okay, I'll do it. You'll tell me afterwards if it was good or not. Yeah. And even if you tell me, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to apply for the next one. That's it. Summarized.
So maybe while we're going to the next question, there is a question from our online viewers as to whether there's a particular ebook that you might recommend, or just a book in general, perhaps, that you would recommend.
I would sort of be honestly and be honest and say no.
Great. Well, there's your answer.
No, but you know why? You know why? Because at the end of the day, as I said, this empower thyself, right? So you don't want just to sort of like read the book and say like, yeah, you want to put yourself in that position, meaning, go apply for the job that you wanted to, or offer yourself as a speaker, or offer yourself as a moderator in something, just put yourself out, yeah? And without the experiencing part, I think we can read so many books about empowerment, and there'll be just, it's like there's this joke about who's more likely to read those empowerment books? Somebody who read the last one. But, translate your aspirations into action. It's okay to fail. We only learn from. I mean, I'm a neuroscientist, and we know that kids cannot stand if they don't fall. And we know also why adults cannot really recover from injuries, because they are afraid to fall. So, fall.
I think that's a great point to wrap it up. I'm sorry, I know there were a lot more questions. I'm sorry we didn't quite get to everyone. I'd like to invite Richelin back on stage with me so that we can give a big round of applause. Thank you so much.